Hi there folks, Joel Self, Outdoor Instructor here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. And if you've not been here before, then drop a like on this video to let me know that you came. And also, down below, there's a little button that says subscribe. And on that button is a little bell. If you press the subscribe button and press on that little bell, you will get a notification every time one of these videos comes out so that you don't miss a thing. We've got 2 videos coming out a day, and I would hate for you to miss out on some important information that you would have liked to have seen. So, that being said, let's get into today's video. We're going to talk about using some rope to tie ourselves a rethreaded figure of 8. This video was requested by one of my junior climbers from the Caution Climbing Wall. Sam, thank you, great request. So let's get straight into how we tie this. You can tie it at home, following step by step with me now, but you don't have to have a piece of climbing rope to practice this. You can use an old shoelace. You can use the rope your dad uses to tie the kayak on the roof. Whatever the case may be. You just need something you can tie some knots in. And I don't suggest the power cable from the TV. You're going to annoy some people if you do that. So we'll start by finding our tail, and we're going to just put that off to one side for a moment. Not too far away from the tail, we'll squish our rope together to make a head. Okay, now we're not doing any weird crossing over or anything, we're just pushing the rope together, making a head. Now this is going to get a bit gruesome, okay, sorry in advance. We're going to use our tail to strangle the head. Okay, now when we strangle something, we're squishing its neck. So I don't want to be able to see the neck of this head when we strangle it. So we'll strangle round the front of the knot. If you go around the back, that's not going to work. You won't end up with the right knot. So we'll strangle around the front of his head, so his neck's hidden. Keep strangling all the way around his head, and then we're going to poke the tail through his eye just to finish him off. Ah! Told you this was going to get gruesome. And that has given us our single figure of 8. This is the first big milestone in tying our rethreaded figure of 8, and this is what we're going to work off of in a moment. So it's important we get this right. If yours doesn't look like a number 8 at the moment, maybe it looks like a 0, or maybe it's got a couple of extra twists in it, then undo it, go back to the beginning, and just see if we can fine tune it till we get this as our final product. Once you have got this though, we're going to need to make sure we've got a fair amount of tail. Mine's probably a bit too short here. So to give yourself more slack, we're going to push rope down into the figure of 8. So pull that through, and then we'll pull it up the next bend, and into our tail. There we go. So we're just trying to give ourselves loads of rope on the tail side. I'm going to leave this over my shoulder just so it's nice and clear for you to see the next step. So our tail is now going to rethread our original knot. So we'll take our tail and we're going to pretend that this is a train and that the rope going into the bottom of our figure of 8 is a train track. So pop your train onto your train track, and then we're just going to follow it through all the loops, making sure we stay on our train track the whole way. So pull it through, and make sure when you're rethreading that you don't lose this loop at the bottom of your figure of 8. That, if you pull too much tail through, will disappear and the whole thing will come undone. So make sure that loop stays about this size. That looks good to me. So I'm following all the track of my figure of 8, making sure I follow every twist properly and go through every tunnel. And when I get both lines coming out of the top of my figure of 8, I'm done. So my tail's coming out, the main body of my rope's coming out. I can pull that all really nice and tight. There we have our rethreaded figure of 8. Now at the moment, if you don't have your climbing harness to hand, this loop might end up being huge or it might end up being tiny, and that's okay, because really it's getting this bit, the rethreading, the right way that's difficult. What you want to make sure is that all of your lines run really neat next to each other, like 2 different sets of tracks running round. If you've got weird crosses going on, then it might cause your knot to tighten up in a strange way. It might become really hard to undo. So if you're able to twist those lines around each other just to get them really neat, that'd be brilliant. You can't always do that though, so sometimes you might just have to accept it's going to be hard to untie. But it's really important that you've got a figure of 8 correctly tied. So a good way of checking is we've got our loop, that brings 2 bits of rope down into the top of the knot, and then on every bit of the knot we should have 2 strands of rope. So 2 going in, 2, 2, 2, and 2 coming out the bottom. And if I turn it over the other way, I've got my 2 going in, I've got 2 over here, 2 over here, 2 there, 2 coming out the bottom. If anyway you've got a single strand by itself, or maybe some extra ones, 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 all together, something's definitely gone wrong with your knot. You should only have 2 lines together. And do make sure that's right. Don't worry about this loop whilst you're at home. Don't worry about this tail whilst you're at home. But if you can get that knot really nice and neat and practice that ready to come back to the wall as soon as all of this COVID-19 business is over, that would be amazing. Thank you again, Sam, for suggesting such a brilliant video. I hope this has helped you, and hopefully we can share this across on a couple of different pages so that everyone who needs to see it can see it, and you can practice this knot at home so that when you come back to the wall, you're all set and ready. Thank you very much for watching this video. I've been Joel, Self Outdoor Instructor. Goodbye.